I'm August Black, and this is Certified Bad Example, where we take real parenting moments that make you pause and ask, who approved this?
And I'm Jamil Mayers. We're not here to teach, we're here to talk about it. Different opinions, real perspectives, and what we do instead, preferably before somebody ends up grounded crying or in a group chat getting roasted.
Because every situation is a choice.
And some of y'all are choosing chaos.
This is Certified Bad Example. Follow, share, and hold on tight.
So we went to Puerto Vallarta in June, and I don't know if you guys have gone. It's like the gay mecca in Mexico.
I haven't gone
at least on that side of the coast.
I went when I was a kid, but not since then.
Okay, well, it might be different as an adult. And Ethan, I'm surprised you haven't been.
I know, I am too, honestly.
Maybe the Learjets don't land out there. But it's very super gay friendly. The whole town is like flags everywhere to say you're welcome here. So you can walk around with your boyfriend, your husband, whatever. And even if you go single and you're out there, trying to do fun stuff, it's very welcoming. But they have a I want to say a Margaritaville. Is it a Margaritaville? I don't know what it is. It's attached to the airport. They had the best guacamole I've ever had.
Really?
Ever.
Surprisingly,
and you wouldn't think so, right? It's like an airport. Yeah, I was like, what? So now every time we go back, we're like, it's gonna be guacamole time. Anyway, Okay, welcome back to Certified Bad Example. My name is Jamil Mayers, and with me is.
Hi guys, I'm August Black, and we are talking here about different parenting moments or kid fails and how we feel about it and how we can kind of switch stuff up. And we've got a guest today.
All right, so Ethan is joining us today. Ethan, I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to introduce yourself. And as August said, the whole premise of the show is really to get some feedback and thoughts. We have a couple of stories that we pulled from headlines going back to probably Mesopotamian days or whatnot. But we'll pull them out just for example purposes. August and I are LGBTQ parents, so we will always have some sort of a parental slant to life because, I mean, that's our existence now. But we welcome those that don't have the parental context because sometimes our viewpoint is, how should I say this? Very focused on making sure that we're providing the right insight. So while we are looking at the bad examples, we do want to see where we can pull some good examples and learn how to be better people, or hey, you should have done that differently is really the mindset that I have. So Ethan, give us the 5-second pitch on who you are and how cool you are. And I am always curious how aviation business is doing. So, throw that in there.
So my name is Ethan Levy. Some of you may know me as the gay kid with gay dads. I grew up in I was born in 1998. So I'm 28 years old, and I'm from New York City originally. Grew up on the Fire Island Pines every single summer, own an aviation business, now developing another platform, which is more data focused and automation, oriented for private jet operations. So I've been busy with that. Volunteer fire EMS as well. That was just something I decided one year I was going to do during COVID. And yeah, that's pretty much, I'm constantly on the go. That's what I'm kind of known for. My dog and I are constantly always traveling.
Okay, so next time you're going to Mexico on one of your charter flights, please stop by and pick me up.
Yeah, definitely. I will. Have yet to do that though. Have yet to go to Mexico once, so that'll be the first. But yeah,
you're on an airplane like twice a day for
I was on an airplane 2 days
year and
ago,
a half, maybe longer since I've known you. So it's like, geez, like where's he going now?
About like every 2 weeks, maybe. About average, somewhere in there.
Damn.
Yeah. So I love it.
So has any of this at the point that we're recording this, right? There is a lot of turmoil in the world, is what I'm going to use. Has that impacted your business at all?
I'd say just like yes, broadly, yes. I guess the pricing of fuel especially is something that, we are eyeing constantly. I mean, you have private aviation, which is obviously for wealthier individuals. It caters to that demographic. But wealthy people didn't just become wealthy from, most people didn't just become wealthy or inherit the wealth. So they watch their money very closely. And a lot of, operators that are flying the aircraft are very cautious now on what flights they're taking or what routes they may pick up, because if they have to fly back empty, then it has to make sense for them to fly there in the first place. So there's definitely a lot of kind of like, I guess, tension between the operator and like what we do, which is like we connect the client, we broker the sale of the flight. So like, the margins are running very thin, and various operators are starting to cut operations in various areas because they're not seeing a return on the flight investment. It doesn't make sense operationally for them. So it's definitely been very kind of, I guess, tense. But the platform I'm developing is supposed to wedge right in between that and like aggregate those seats that are not available, or that are available that are not being picked up, to like a broader market. Like it's meant to diversify kind of who gets to fly, and like you're buying it at a seat cost, not the actual aircraft cost. So that's something like, the aviation world. I just think in general, obviously, like when I filled up the car recently, it's, especially in Virginia, I had to drive to 3 different gas stations. And even then I had to fill it with the most expensive. And it was some like jank, rental car, like it, but I had to fill it with premium because there was nothing available. And it was like $6. I mean, 5-ish a gallon, but I mean, it's ridiculous. So yeah, we're definitely seeing a ripple effect across the industry.
Yikes. Okay, well, we'll see. Today's Tuesday, April 7th. So I'm thinking tomorrow, April 8th, will probably look a little bit different. So maybe
Well,
we'll
did you
leave that
see
there.
Trump's
All right.
Truth Social? His note, what he just put online about tonight
he
being.
talks a lot. He says a lot. And it never goes right. So
I don't know.
I think
Don
that's
Lemon
why we're
even
all going to be
posted
glued
this
to our
one.
TV.
I was like, oh shit! I know it's getting real.
Poor Don. He needs to stay out of jail, just like every black person.
Right.
Okay. All right. So I'll kick this off. So I'll read a headline, and then I'll toss it over to August. August is going to opine on it. Reactions in the moment are welcome, and then we'll see, Ethan, what your thoughts on it are, and we'll chat about it. And then after that, we'll go to the next one. But
okay,
we try to find some zingers where we can. Sometimes they're really good. Sometimes they're like, meh. But we'll see what's up. Okay. All right, this one might be familiar. In the months leading up to April 2017, Billy McFarland and his team pushed influencer campaigning promising luxury villas and curated experiences, even as internal teams flagged critical issues with housing, food, and site readiness. Contracts were signed, tickets were sold at a premium price, while basic infrastructure remained incomplete. When guests arrived, they were met with emergency tents and limited supplies, exposing a pattern of marketing first decisions, making it marking, should I say, no operational support or backing. So some of this may sound familiar to those of you that are plugged in. And if not, that's fine. But August.
This sounds like Fyre Fest. No? Sorry, I'm mauled by a cat.
Fyre Festival. Yes,
Fyre Fest. That went up in flames. It sounds very on par for social media, like just like in the world that we live in, where we're like, oh, I have this amazing idea, I'm going to put it out there, but I have no idea if it's going to work. I'm not going to do the background on it because I'm just going to wing it and see, but without considering human life in this situation where you're flying people to a destination that does not have all of the accessibility that, if you were to do that in the middle of a random state, it's like, okay, well, we can drive 45 minutes to pick up water or whatever. Yeah, that is a perfect bad example of oversell, underprepared. oversold it as this massive, big, incredible experience and had nothing actually prepared underneath and took all the money. I'm pretty sure he had to pay a lot of it back, and I didn't follow too much about it after the fact, but it was a wild thing to watch unfold in real time when it happened.
So what I will say is I was not around for real time, right? But I did watch like the Netflix documentary on it. And there were like 2 documentaries, and then it started to like percolate through social media, and I didn't even know something like this happened. But what I will say is this harkens back to social media
Yeah.
and how pervasive it is, and how a lot of people do things because everyone else is doing it and it looks flashy. And if your photos are glossy and you have the right characters in it and you attach the right name to it, it almost makes it seem like it's completely legit, and people gravitate towards it, right? They decide, hey, my friend says she wants to go, she's promoting it. It's such an incredible example of how social media has gotten out of control. It is a real life example of how people gravitate towards, hey, I saw, influencer August is saying he's going and he's promoting, so it must be legit, therefore I want to go. And only something so amazing would cost $1,000 a person and would be in some island somewhere. So yeah, I want to go. I haven't done any research. I just know I need to show up, and they're going to entertain me. They're going to feed me. And that is a legitimate expectation, right? When we go anywhere, we just show up because we've paid. We expect
to be
for
taken
people
care
to
of.
provide the service that they've been telling us they're going to do. Now, on the flip side, we've got someone very much like the person running our country now who depends on others who have no idea what they're doing. So I do think there's an element of, when the time comes, we'll be ready. That wasn't legit. Like if you are leading an organization, and Ethan, you could probably speak more to this than most of those. If you're leading an organization, you kind of have to know how to do everybody's job so that you can validate that things are getting done. Not that you need to micromanage them, but you can pop your head in and go, yeah, that looks right. And instantly know I don't need to get into that. But there were so many red flags with this Frye Island. I think the good thing to pull out of here is know your business. Take a step back, take your time. Why are we rushing? Social media is definitely the right way to go to promote your stuff. But when you fail, you're going to fail big. So be ready for that.
Right. And on a stage. I mean, like, not only are you going to fail, you're going to fail in front of potentially millions of people. But I think
wealthy people and influencers, right?
Yeah, it could be anybody. Like literally, one of my videos drew in, and I don't know if I should say this, but drew in Anderson Cooper to follow me. You know what I mean?
Okay,
like, and it was just that you never know, like, who you're.
He freezes on Anderson Cooper.
I don't know if I should say it. Apparently not. It said you were frozen.
Ethan, what happened? Anderson said Anderson Cooper. The whole computer was like, no.
He said, wait, hold on. Who are we talking about? I need to catch up here.
It's like your NDA does not go that far.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we have stopped. You should not say it.
Oh my God. He's probably throwing that computer out the windows. He looks like he is in a hotel and the Wi-Fi probably sucks.
Sucks, yeah, that's my guess.
Oh, poor guy.
I don't know what keeps happening. I'm like, oh my God, this is insane.
We're talking shit about your hotel Wi-Fi. So
yeah.
I mean, it's for this. Yeah, I mean, I should get some sort of reimbursement for this.
All right. So, your NDA stopped you at Anderson Cooper before you disappeared.
Yes. So I was just saying, like, in terms of social media reach, like, you never, like, one of my videos just like drew in Anderson Cooper as a follower. Like, it's kind of insane, like, how far it can go. It also could be, not effective at all. But like, there's a science to just the consistency, I think, in it. And like, when you're launching a brand, especially, it's easy to just do what like ever clickbait or rage bait or kind of like what will grab the audience first. But people then don't really think of like how that translates into, what am I building? Like, what was the initial concept about, I think? And so like, especially back in 2017, people didn't really have the whole fact check, like, let's do kind of extensive research on this, and like the tools, if you will, even now that we have to be able to like look things up and to like really kind of do our due diligence. So
But
like, I
would they
think they
have
kind
done
of
it
just
though?
grabbed him. What?
Yeah, I
Would
think
they
that's a
have
great
done it
question.
though?
I think certain people would have, and then that would have trickled down. Like, I think that
Fair
there
point.
are those people that are innately like, okay, well, if I'm an influencer, like, I'm not going to support something blindly. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm getting like paid, or if it's going out, like, if my name is representing it, like, why would I then expose? At least that's what I think, is like, why would I expose, my follower base to, something potentially catastrophic or like a risk if I, you know, didn't do my research? I mean, it's a liability all around. I
So
guess I'm thinking
what I
about it
will
from
tell
that
you,
standpoint.
is he brought on some pretty big names, at the time,
Hmm.
right? So Ja
Right.
Rule was attached to this, and one of the Kardashians did a lot of
Yeah.
the commercials for it, which again brings legitimacy to what you're promoting, right?
Right.
A lot of people see the Kardashians promoting something and they're like, oh, this has got to be fine because it's not,
Right.
you know, Flava Flav, Flava
Right.
Flav's promoting something. I'm like,
Well, they had the
we
money. If
need
they
to
had the
look into that a little
capital,
bit.
if they had the capital for it and the budget for it, then like that's something that in that point it would have been seemingly legitimate, because they were just doing their job at that. They're just getting a paycheck at the end of the day. And like, if the money's right, a lot of, I think, celebrities and a lot of, influencers kind of just don't really think about it, because like they're getting paid what they want. They're getting paid essentially what their rate would be. So like, if you're capable of paying me that rate, and like I'm setting the tone and standard of what, my message is and how I'm going to do it, you're flying me private, all these other things, then it's not really seeming like there could be the potential for it to be a fallout kind of event, because everything seems like the norm from their standpoint. You know what I mean? And from their, assistant standpoint, or like their team standpoint, because that's what they're getting. But they don't go to the event. Some of them don't go to the event, and it's like, well, yeah, I'm not going to go to the event, but like I'll get paid my normal rate to do what I would do anyways, right? Like that's the business they're in. But yes, then people
Yeah,
will, yeah, then they're
advertising.
representing it. Yeah. I don't think they
So
necessarily
so
knew.
so.
Go ahead.
Mm, so I guess my question, and I'll toss this one to you, August. If you got on a plane and showed up to this island and experienced that, what would be your walk away? What would you learn from that experience, right? Because if again, I'm harkening back to the Netflix documentary, and they had a
Uh-huh.
few of them, right? People landed at the airport. It was a crowd. They all got bussed to like this
Yep.
waiting location, which was like a gift shop slash bed and breakfast. Could not fit everybody, right? But this was a
Mhm.
staging area. And now it's transitioned from having your private villa to a company actually making a decision to say, we're going to put people in a tent.
Mhm.
Uh, what? But anyway, that's how you show up. Now you have a tent location. You can't. Your flight is until 3 days from now. You can't
Yeah.
leave, or presumably you can't. You call Ethan. You get out on time, but
For a nominal fee, I can tell you that it
presumably
wouldn't
you
be
can't
cheap.
leave.
For a phenomenal fee. Well, I'd be stuck. I think it would be a a lesson learned to really make sure that this is something, one, I want to go to, and two, that I get all the confirmation numbers, because like that's the only other thing. It's like, did these hotels even exist? Like, were they? Because
They
I
weren't
don't.
hotels. There were
They
supposed to
weren't
be like
hotels.
these little
Like huts on
bungalow
the,
Hut,
type
like,
yeah.
situations
yeah,
that were
yeah,
like,
huts. Okay,
right, like
they
these
weren't even built
geodesic
out.
domes, like you've seen, like the geodesic domes that are
Right.
like put
Oh,
out, and they
okay.
look nice, and they're
Yeah,
you can see the sky, and it was supposed to be that.
got
Right.
it. Yeah, I mean, what would I take away from that? Never fall for anything on social media ever again. I would probably, like, I'm gonna just, Trivago from now on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't.
JetBlue would have
That
been
would be
better.
be tough. Always. Yeah, exactly. Always pack plenty of clothes, and yeah, maybe like a. That's a tough one. I'm not. when it comes to travel, I got a plan. So that would be a massive lesson learned.
Yeah, I think, and then this is the last thing I'll say on this before I give it to you, August, to go on. And as a gay male, and I credit that to being a gay male, my planning is kind of overdone. So I don't know. I think I would have noticed, to Ethan's point, I would have noticed some red flags, because I need redundancies built into my mind for me to be able to unplug once I get there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I probably would have picked up some breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
All right, August, what you got?
All right. Well, I had a different one, but coming from that, I feel like this one, it kind of fits that trend, social media trend. So I believe it was back in 2021 that there was the carnivore baby trend, where parents stopped giving their kids traditional baby food and started giving them more of a carnivore diet. And pediatricians started freaking out because, fruits and nutrients and veggies, they all contain so many minerals and positive things for us to grow and heal from, especially as young babies who don't have the digestive system to process those foods yet. And it became this really big, like, I'm bringing my baby back to the Paleolithic era, and they're going to eat meat and fish, and from a very, very, very young age, instead of doing the, puree and carrots that we normally go from breast milk to baby food. And so this is your thing is kind of like, oh, social media inspired all these people to do something without doing research. And this is another example of social media taking a parent storm and being like, let's feed our babies only meat, and what do we think is going to happen, with no research, no consideration, no pediatrician like advice.
That's wild.
And people were like, no, you have to isn't that crazy? It was a whole thing, carnivore baby.
That is insane. Were people that
Ethan,
bored during COVID? Like, they really
what is your gut reaction? You're not a parent, but I know you got a thought on this.
My first thing is, like, doesn't the kid need teeth to be able to chew this type of food? Like, how is the kid going from, like, literal milk to chewing this shit? Like, you need teeth. Like, the two little front teeth that are barely in aren't sufficient enough, if you ask. I have a difficult enough time.
Yeah, definitely. For me, it's like choking hazard alone is like, no.
Yeah.
So I didn't have an infant as a parent. I didn't have an infant. I got my kid at 4. So he was already eating solid foods. But I always go back to these type of diets that people go on. How do you actually know how this existed back then? Right? How do we know how these ancient people, is what I'll call them, took care of their infants? Because to Ethan's point, you can't eat meat, and they don't have blenders, right? So there had to be something happening back then that we're just not plugged into. If you weren't alive back then, maybe we should go with what we know today.
Yeah.
Because we've progressed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There are things that people used to eat back then that you probably should not eat today. And the way our bodies have evolved, yeah, exactly. We can't. There are things that it would be nice if we went back to that. It's healthier or whatnot. But our bodies genetically, over the course of however long we've been on this, but we just can't eat those things anymore. So why are we saying this is the new fad? Right? We go back to the I can't remember the new diet that the adults were doing. It's the
keto or like
paleo. Is it paleo? Paleo, yeah.
Paleo,
so everybody went back to
keto,
paleo
carnivore.
diet, and it's like, why? Why are you? You didn't do this since you were a kid, so your body's not used to this. Now you're gonna shock it into just seeds and nuts for the next 6 months, and then you wonder why your skin's changing colors and why you can't. It's like I don't get it.
Well, there's a funny connection that I made this way, and it's not even parenting, but like these 2 dachshunds my friend had, they grew up in a yard with an avocado tree, and so from a really young age, these dogs would eat avocados. But avocados are actually they're not good for dogs. They can get them super sick. They're super high in fats and they can't digest them. These two dogs could eat avocados because they've been doing it since they were really little. So they had adjusted to eating that content. Whereas like, yeah, a regular dog, a bunch of avocados is going to make them super sick, like right off the bat. So it's
That's
like
just
kind of what
building
you're
up like
saying.
an
It's like,
immune
how do we know
response.
what our bodies? Yeah, kind of. They are doing that today. They're building up like kids with peanut allergies with like slight like immune response to kind of help as they get older to overcome it, which is kind of cool. But
yeah, Ethan, why can't we eat peanuts on airplanes?
Because if somebody has an airborne allergy, that could kill them. And people might not even know, like if they got introduced to it once and like that's what an allergy is. It's just a rush of histamine that just like essentially attacks you all at once. And like, you know, it's that's why antihistamines are, you know, important to bring that down, like Benadryl and stuff like that. But like, you know, on a plane, it's a closed circuited environment. You have air that's being circulated throughout the cabin, like over and over and over and over again. So essentially, like once the like particles are in the air, you know, it could potentially set off an allergic reaction to somebody that has even an airborne allergy.
So if we all started this diet that August is talking about, then we wouldn't have to be concerned about the peanut allergy on the airplane.
just be eating meat.
Well,
just
yeah.
eat peanuts and meats and all that stuff. As a kid, right? Can you imagine a 1-year-old crunching on a peanut?
No.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, no.
Yeah, no. I mean, my kid is incredibly picky, so probably not her. But yeah, I mean, I think like there's like everything in moderation. But as long as you're, you know, completing an actual triangle of nutrition and making sure that they're hitting all of their spots.
Right.
But then you get like the 4 and 5-year-olds who eat, you know, mac and cheese, peanut butter and jelly, and hot dogs for 2 years straight, and they're fine. You know, they just somehow, or like 3 blueberries. I'm full. All right, sure, okay, moving on.
Yeah.
So for me, the lesson here is be very aware of what modern living requires of you as a human being. You know, we always want to go back to the things that we hear on social media, but we're not necessarily hearing it from health professionals. I mean, this harkens back to the COVID days and certainly back to whatever's going on in the Trump administration now with the health organization, with what's his name? Kennedy, that's running the place now,
Oh my
talking all
God.
sorts of nonsense. It's like, please take an extra step.
Sounds like he is like
talk
a
to somebody
walking
else.
stroke. He's just like a walking. That's what he said. Can't ever
He's working on
understand
it.
Yeah, he is. We're getting there.
Yeah, it's very specific, man.
All right, final thoughts, August, or we beat that dead horse.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of said it. Was like, you know, if you're gonna follow a trend on social media, make sure you do your own research first, and you're not just following suit because you never know what's gonna happen.
Also, it's like your kid.
Again.
You might end up a Frye Island or a superhero baby, just protein bulked
But I mean,
up.
if you're gonna make your kid do it, at least get their consent before you like force them.
This one is right up your alley, Ethan. So on Flight 3411 departing Chicago, airline staff call security to remove a passenger.
3411.
Down.
Yeah. Okay.
After he refused to give up his seat on an overbooked flight. The decision escalated into a physical altercation captured on video, which quickly went viral. Then CEO Oscar Munoz initially defended the action internally before issuing a public apology, illustrating a breakdown in judgment at both the operational and the executive level. All right, Ethan.
Are you throwing this sub at me because I worked at United during this time? that's
no comment.
So the doctor was paid out very, very graciously after this incident. It was something that was a PR nightmare. It was awful to deal with because nobody wanted to deal with United after, and we were just known as like that airline that was like killed the dog and then threw the doctor off the plane and like bloodied him up and all that stuff.
So since you have a personal connection to this, what do you know that's background that we don't know?
well, he was paid like a shitload of money. Like he got a settlement that was very tightly wrapped, but it was in the north of 10 million almost. Yeah, it was obscene how much he got paid
Kick
off
me
of
off a
that.
plane.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's a standard practice. Like airlines have that written in their bylaws, like that they're allowed to do that. But like the way it was done was not. I mean, also social media taking its spin and, rightfully so, because that would have been something United totally would have swept under the rug. Like had it been something that was just quiet, like nobody like got video or, you know what I mean? Like it would have been in and out in like 2 seconds, but that haunted the, company for even now. I mean, you mentioned it now, and it's one of those things that like had the lasting impact. United has since completely changed their, presence on social media. They've, their PR is completely different than what it used to be. They completely overhauled those teams, and like, it's a completely different face of an airline, but like, it reminds people that like live in that time. Like I remember that vividly. I mean, it was just like, oh my God, we did not just do this. And like the power of social media in that moment, it just completely, that was like, United was under fire, like siege within 15 minutes of it going viral. I mean, it was just absolutely absurd how quickly that, almost took down the entire company. I mean,
So August, do you know that detail in the fine print on your ticket? I will tell you, I've never read the fine print on it's there. I know there are a lot of things that are there, but I would
Lots
have
of fine
never
print.
been like, I'm agreeing to that.
No,
Right.
I haven't. I didn't know that they were allowed to do that. I also feel
Yeah.
like, just getting up and being like, all right, well, make sure I'm on the next flight, please, is easy. But
Yeah.
I didn't see this viral video. And it's like, all right, now we've got
Wow.
social media using for a different purpose. Cause like you said, it would swept, be swept under the rug. So at least, there's some accountability being held because everyone's watching now,
Yeah.
which
Ethan,
is a little
remind me,
scary.
they took him off kicking and screaming, right? He
He
had to
was
be
like,
like,
he
Like
was like
physically
pulled
removed.
by his shirt, like his collar, like bleeding all over his
Oh,
face, like off the plane. Yeah, it was, and he was a
damn.
doctor,
yeah,
of
it was a
course.
Yeah.
big thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's crazy. That's
It
crazy.
it looked bad. I mean,
yeah. They
he
just
could have
Yeah.
he
straight
I
up
could have
mean,
just
it was
like
assaulted him.
bad
bumped his head or something, but it looked so bad.
Yeah,
because he didn't want to get off. So they just physically
no, he
removed
was
him
saying he
anyways
didn't have to
and
get
just
off.
assaulted him.
Right. Yeah. And it wasn't like an officer or anything. It was like the actual gate agent in the beginning was like assaulting him. And then, obviously officers got involved, and that's who I think ultimately pulled him off. But like in the beginning, the altercation happened between like the actual UA, like the ground staff or ground crew, which was,
Okay.
yeah, that's a huge,
You see a lot of
know.
videos today on planes and people being removed from planes and behavior and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I had a very interesting flight in January, and one of the flight attendants made my entire day because she was a real hero. But I felt like a single dad version of Bridesmaids with a kid
Jeez.
vomiting in the tiniest airplane
That's
bathroom
the
ever.
worst too.
And I was just like,
Vomiting. Oh,
I'm so screwed. I mean, there was nothing I could do because she's so little that you have to hold them up, And then she's like, she said she had to go potty and her tummy really hurt. I was like, oh God, what am I gonna do? So we get back there, rushing, and then she just throws up all over herself, and no more blankets on planes. So I was like, what do I do? And I opened the door, and most of the flight attendants ignored me except one. And I was like, there is a strawberry backpack right over there. I need it ASAP. And I got to wear a t-shirt on the plane, and she got to wear my hoodie. And we managed to catch our connection, but it was a moment.
Yeah.
It was a moment.
That's
airplane.
the story.
All right, August, what you got?
All right, so for my next one, it was a viral TikTok of a Sephora employee who was talking about a kid who came in with her mom. The daughter picked out a bunch of stuff, went to check out, and the total came up to $900. Then the mom and the daughter had an argument, and the mom was able to talk the daughter down to a $500, and was happy with that result. So this employee went online and was just like, what is happening? Who are the parents in this situation? This is crazy. That is a lot of money. And so, yeah, I wanted to kind of see what your thoughts were on that one.
Oof.
So if you're asking me, my first reaction is mind your business.
Yes,
like,
mind your
get your
fucking
hands out of my
business.
pocket. If I'm paying $2 million, $500, $2, it's none of your business how much I'm paying. Now, if she was focusing on whatever the argument was, right? If it was a really charged argument, and it should have been we're leaving the store because you're talking to me wrong, and it ended up with, okay, we'll just buy you $500 worth of stuff. Now that's worth a conversation. But if she's focused on the price, then my reaction is mind your business.
Well, also, like, if you have an
Interesting.
issue with it, like, say something to her face. Like, don't go and blabber on social media after the fact and be like, oh, yeah, like, this is, like, I'm pissed about. Like, why don't you just say it straight to her face? She's sitting right there. You know, obviously, if this girl is entitled enough to, like, you know, go back and forth with her mom over 500 versus 900, she can handle a little back talk and a little, you know, piece of this woman's mind straight to her face. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you just say, stop being entitled? Like, just be thankful your mom's buying you anything and then just leave it at that. Why do you have to go on social media afterwards? You know?
Because what kind of a kid does it take, right, to be able to say, I walked through a Sephora store and I picked out $1,000 worth of stuff. You have to have done that before or have been authorized to do something close to that. That's the way you operate. That's the way your family operates. You traditionally have the funds to do that. It's just mom decided in that time, hey, we're going to dial it back a little bit. She's not saving pennies, right? I mean, 500, 1,000, that's a lot of money for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's like, obviously this is not your class of people. Yeah.
Well, and I think like the Sephora employee was like, I can't believe that a child, 12, 13-year-old girl is allowed to spend this amount of money.
Afford it.
Because she can't afford it. So there's judgment in the fact that she can't afford it.
No, I was just going to say, like, her mom could be investing. Yeah, I see that now. I'm realizing that. But I was just going to say, like, her mom could be investing. Like, she could be a beauty guru or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different variables, I feel like, that, like, could have come into play in this. Like, it could have been something for a YouTube channel. She could be dying of a terminal illness. Like, you know, all of these things could come into play. And it could be something in which, like, you never see the full story. But, like, maybe it's just, like, a gesture, like, they agreed upon something. Or, like, again, it's something out of their control. Or it's a long-term investment in some senses. So that way she can, like, kind of build from there. And, like, you know, that's kind of her, I guess, baseline or her foundation, literally, to go off of. But, like, you know, I think that just, like, getting involved in that type of thing, like, that's a little, that blurs lines for me. That like, for me, I would take the defense of the mom and the daughter being like, mind your own fucking business, or say something straight to my face. Like, versus at all. I don't care about the 1,000. Like, you know, $1,000 is okay. Like, whatever. You don't know what that's being used for. It's better than spending $1,000 on drugs. You know what I mean? So, like, might as well spend $1,000 on makeup.
Well, depends on the drug, Ethan.
Right.
Interesting. I had a different take on it.
Oh, I want to hear it.
Because I think that, you know, if teaching your kid the value of money. You know, if a 12-year-old's going into a store and spending $500, her value of $500 is pretty small, right? She doesn't think about it from that perspective. And even though, the mom might have money, teaching your child the value of money. I grew up in a nice space and then was very quickly broke for most of my adult life. Learning the value of money as a teenager is super important and something I wish I had been taught. And so from the perspective of my experience, learning the value of money, like $900 and $500 are two very different prices.
Yeah.
That even today, it's like, oh, man, I got to register my car.
Yeah.
And I messed something up and now I have to spend $900 instead of the normal, like, oh, it's $500, do my car registry. It's like a whole different thing. but teaching your child from an age of 12 or 13, like, the difference between we're going to spend almost $1,000 on you and what you want today, or let's cut this in half and meet in the middle. Even spending $500 is still a lot for a kid, and learning the value of money at that age is super, super important, because you want to set her up, or any of your child up in the future, with the ability to, one, not overspend, but two, understand that, like, if you're working a minimum wage job, like, you just spent a 2-week paycheck. Like, that's what you're spending. And maybe she won't be in that situation, but again, it's not the Sephora employee's, job to get involved or shame the parent. But from my perspective, I'm like, oh man, we should be teaching that kid the value of money, so she understands that we don't have an argument about what you're allowed and not allowed to spend, since I'm allowing you to spend this money, and to recognize that this is a decent portion.
Yeah.
For
So let me be devil's advocate here for a second. What if this kid was a child actor? Right?
Then she'd be able to spend her own money. It wouldn't even be a conversation.
she is spending her own money, but it's the parent who is in financial custody, since it's a young child, right? And the parent is in that moment trying to put some controls in place to do exactly what you're referring to, right? Educate them. I think
that's a good.
I think because it's a snapshot taken from a perspective of the salesperson, right? We don't have enough information, but there are families out there that deal in big numbers. Hey, I need you to save some money and not get the Bugatti. You need to get this other, right?
Get the Rolex.
They deal in big numbers, which to us, we look at that and we go, what are you talking about? You need to get that Toyota Corolla down the street. And it's like, well, first of all, your Corolla, I'm not a Corolla. Like, we graduated from that. I drove a Corolla when I was 18. I can afford something better. I'm not going to go back to a Corolla right. So I think it's just a perspective.
Right. It's a difficult one.
I do think there are a lot of kids out there that are entitled and certainly need to be educated better on money. But yeah. Economics needs to be in schools. I'm a big proponent for that. We need to teach financial economics. That should be high school 101. And it's not.
All 4 years.
I don't know why. Right?
Yeah. It makes way more sense.
Financially stable kids. Yeah. You need to get more people on Ethan's airplanes. I'm saying.
Exactly. That's the goal. I mean, there's nothing wrong. Like, if I could buy a Bugatti, I mean, I'd probably go with something different, but more like an Aston Martin kind of guy. But yeah, I just like.
No, we hear you. Oh, now it just disappeared. Come back, Ethan.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, from the perspective of, like, what can you afford? Because at the end of the day, I grew up with money and then very quickly didn't have any, and that is a really hard lesson to learn. And I think that if I had grown up with parents who taught me the value of everything that I got to have, the privilege that I got to have, I think it would have been a different experience as I got older.
But see, then the onus, hey, welcome back, Ethan. I think the onus now is on your parents having the wherewithal at the time to say, hey, maybe we do need to take 2 steps here. But I think what you've learned from that as an adult now, August, having a child, now you can do that much earlier and say, let's do that now, so that when you do have the riches as an adult, you can manage yourself better. Now, when we talk about, I think where we see a lot of these examples is with celebrities, right? The earlier versions of Justin Bieber, and it comes to mind, right? Went from rags to riches really quick.
Yeah.
Deservedly so, right? He was a superstar in his own right, and blah 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 blah. Lots of adults, everybody trying to mooch off of him, and then there was a breaking point, right? So that was more of a mental toll with money and probably alcohol and drugs that made the situation a lot worse.
Yeah. So you have a shitload of money out of nowhere.
That's a missed parenting opportunity. So
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ethan.
No, I was just going to say, like, you go from literally not being able to afford anything and seeing all these kids that have, everything you want, to now all of a sudden even making just enough to buy all of that. Even like you're going to spend it all because you have no control over, what it is that you have no kind of guidance on that, and you just see that you can get everything that you want, and so it's just like, okay, well, let me just buy it all. You don't really think about like what it
I'm just
is
going to have what I want
otherwise.
anyways. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, and who's guiding you too, right? So if I'm the first person in my family to make $10 million, my parents are not going to be the ones to teach me how to spend $10 million because they have no clue.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I'm going to stumble and bump my toe the whole way, and
Or
maybe
had not to spend $10
because
million.
or not right. So maybe I will be successful and go, hey, I need to slow down and get with a financial planner
Right.
and figure out what I'm going to do,
Yeah.
or maybe I'm going to blow it all.
Or both.
Come on,
You'll
Ethan. How
have
do I spend $10
some
million?
put away and then blow the rest.
That we all get from United. All right. My last one here. All right. In late 2022, and if you remember this one, raise your hand. A holiday campaign from Balenciaga featured children alongside controversial images passed through creative, legal, and executive approvals without being halted. Internal processes failed to flag the content before publication, suggesting a systemic lapse rather than a single oversight. The backlash forced the company to pull the campaign and issue public apologies, while scrutiny focused on how such decisions moved forward unchecked.
I feel like I do remember this
I
going
feel like I
down.
remember the Pepsi scandal, not this, honestly. I remember the Pepsi one with Kendall Jenner. I don't remember this.
So let me look into let me see if I can find, and I'll describe it, the image, because I remember this. It was like children. Let's see if I can find it. The way that it was framed, if you just looked at it, I don't even think context really mattered with this imagery, because it was like, wow, like what are they trying to say? Like, where are we going with this? And it didn't make sense. But I think the point
So
here is it went through so many gateways, and no one raised their hand and was like, that don't look right.
This doesn't feel good. Yeah. Do you think it was more about creating the images that they felt like they wanted to create than thinking about the harm that it could possibly cause to the people who are seeing it? It's like,
100%. I mean, it's all
our
fashion.
over perception.
Like they just have
Yeah.
to be, they're trying to be innovative and visionary, and like, some things hit, some things miss. And like, I think, especially if you're dealing with it on an executive level where you have deadlines and, kind of things that you need to hit, you're not, you just sign and you're like, okay, well, the rest of my creative team looked at this and they said it's reached my desk, so it must be okay. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily, I think,
Yeah. Like how many hands has
always.
this gone through?
Right.
So let me describe the image. So this is a child standing on a pink bed, and she's holding a teddy bear by a strap. It's a white teddy bear, but the teddy bear is dressed in what I would consider S&M gear, right? So it's a very mesh t-shirt. It's got a lock around its neck. It's got like the little straps around its wrists. The eyes are like, one eye is blue, one eye is red. Right,
No.
exactly. So I see what you guys are saying. There are some creative choices that are being done here to say this is fashion. I think the challenge here is, had this been an adult, non-issue.
Yeah, because the consent
Non-issue.
would have been there.
This kid has to be, if I had to guess, 7 years old.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong, because you're in that moment, regardless of intent, that's sexualizing the child.
Exactly, and I think that's where it
But what
all
was the
went.
child
People were like,
wearing?
what is happening here?
What
I mean,
was
it
the
doesn't
child
really
wearing,
matter.
though?
The child is holding a bear.
I mean, yes, but I'm
dressed
saying
in-
like,
So
because you
she's
could
in
say
all
that's,
black. She's in all black.
you could, I want to pull up. I need to pull up this photo for context because I don't want to go based off of like
So
she's in
she's
all
wearing a
black.
Balenciaga. She's wearing a
All right, I'm gonna look at it too.
Balenciaga t-shirt, just a basic black tee with Balenciaga written on it.
Okay.
And then
Oh shit! I gotta plug my phone.
sweatpants with the Balenciaga label on it.
Okay, so
And some
Balenciaga
sneakers.
tee.
And that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this the one that's dressed in
I
purple?
wish there was a way to drop like
Okay.
a chat in.
Because I mean, okay, no, these are fake versions of this. This isn't the real one.
I
Okay.
do.
That child's younger than 7. I'd put her.
See,
in
that
like
looks
the
and like
5,
also that doesn't
4 to 5-year-old category, and that's more of a goth bear.
Yes, that's what I thought it was going to be. That's what I
Sorry,
was
Ethan.
trying to say is that like in my mind, this is giving Halloween spooky vibes. It's not giving like, oh, let me tie you up and like, you know, let's go to
Yeah.
the sex dungeon type shit. You know what I mean? Like that's very different.
No, the fishnet is like, okay, pushing it, but it's very gothic. And there's actually a lot of
Yeah.
dolls out there right now that are very gothic. They're very vampiric.
And that's their
look
whole thing.
just like
That's
that
Balenciaga.
in the kids aisle of stores.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know. Somehow this was a miss for them. And I think it has a lot to do. I think I don't know.
I think it's
I'm
'cause
not
the
big
kid's
into
a
the goth
ginger.
world. So when I look at this, I go, ooh, you know. Now we've gone to different directions.
I think people are just subtly trying to say, don't put a ginger on this ad.
Oh my gosh, she's
Nothing
a cute
wrong
little
with
ginger.
it. I think it's a soft, adorable photo. I don't see any sort of like subliminal message here, like of like this is some sadistic, you know, pedophilia going on or some like weird thing going on.
I don't either.
Yeah,
I don't
have to
either.
agree
I don't
on
but
feel that.
in the world that we live in, there's a lot of I'm using air quotes here, evangelistic Christians out there that are
Mhm.
really quick to raise their hand and say you're trying to do X, Y, and Z to the kids, right?
Oh, I know that one well.
It is their slogan. So exactly. So you've grown up with that as having gay
Yeah.
parents. You know, everything is don't do ABC to the kids. So I mean, I
Yeah,
think
you're
this is where
indoctrinating your
that
kid.
comes from. Exactly. So what, you know, if you were an executive and you saw this, is it your position, either August or Ethan? This is fine because it's on brand with Balenciaga. I'd have to look to see what else Balenciaga puts out to be like, yeah, this is on brand. Or if this is like so far out to the left, like it shouldn't have been.
No, this is 100%
Personally, I don't
brand.
really understand it, but it does feel on
This is-
brand. Yeah.
Yeah, this is 100% what they do.
I don't know.
I would
why
expect
people
nothing less.
were having a
Up in arms.
connection if that's the case.
I expected it worked. Honestly, when people were so upset about it, I when you pulled the photo back up, I expected it to be way worse and darker than that.
Well, you know, I'm glad she's dressed as plainly as she is. I think that was the
I mean,
purpose,
she's got
but-
like Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, what I do think, the last thing
sweatpants
I'll
going
say
on.
here is I do think people look at that bear and they go, that's not Build-A-Bear. And that's probably
No.
what
It
triggered
could
all
be,
this.
though. I mean,
It's definitely
it
not
could
Build-A-Bear, but
literally
Build-A-Bear
be.
is the worst place on earth.
Yeah.
That mesh, you're saying you going to Build-A-Bear, Ethan, today? You got that mesh t-shirt you can put on your bear.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will. Be like, where's the Balenciaga aisle?
Wouldn't that be something? Oh, Build-A-Bear would become ridiculously overpriced.
Build-A-Bear is ridiculously overpriced. When was the last time you went in one?
American
it's like
doll level.
$150 for a Build-A-Bear if they want to get the clothes and everything.
Listen,
It's insane.
August. It is not $900.
It's not $900, but $150 for a stuffed animal is ridiculous. It's like $45 for
Damn.
the actual bear, and then if you want to put like a voice in it,
Wait,
it's
Ethan, you've
more.
never had a Build-A-Bear?
I had one, but it was like $25. Like that shit didn't cost $150. That was like you went in.
That's
stuffed
how much
a
it cost
little
when I used to get a
ornament.
Build-A-Bear.
How much?
And you left
You
with
didn't
like
buy
an
a
outfit.
Build-A-Bear.
Boom.
They took you somewhere. That was an off-brand.
No, the Build-A-Bears have gotten way more expensive. I recently went And you get to go in for like the kid's birthday and you pay the amount. Well, she didn't want the birthday one. She wanted the Bluey one. And we left with a $60 Bluey stuffed animal.
Oh,
with the voice
cheap.
box. That is
cheap.
It was worth it because it was a birthday, but not quite cheap. $60 for a stuffed animal that sits in a
That's
basket.
phone
that hasn't been
service
picked
for
up
a
in
month.
3 weeks.
All right, August, do you have a good example to walk us out? What do you got?
Yeah, I have a good example. So I follow this woman on Instagram. She's a really cute mom. I believe her name is
Hey, come on, cute mom, name drop. Maybe we should come on the
Lisa.
show.
Yeah, we'll at her.
Lisa Higgins. Yeah, Lisa Higgins.
Is her name Anderson Cooper?
Not Anderson Cooper. Lisa Higgins. She has a very, very cute 4-year-old daughter, and I found her from this compliment shop that they do, where they go into a Target and they compliment strangers on different things, and they're learning how to give compliments. And I just thought, one, what a great way to push your child out of their comfort zone and to engage in a positive way with people and make people feel better, but also to really like push communication. And it was just it was so cute. You watch the whole video and they're just going around. They're like, I like your shoes, and just like little things. And then the daughter gets complimented back. And I don't know, I thought it was a cute learning
I
experience.
think I've seen those before. They're cute.
They're cute. They're cute. It's a nice little moment where it's like, oh man, this is. And I feel like people don't compliment people enough anymore. Where I'm like, oh man,
I don't
sometimes
think
I'm like,
I've seen
what a cool
hers.
jacket, and you get the weirdest look, and I'm like,
Yeah.
hers is that's the one that I saw that I was like, this is a great example of something that I might try myself.
So I have 2 points to that. One, I think we've lost the complimentary nature of humans just being nice, because people misunderstand that a lot, right? Especially those that are single. You compliment someone on something that's like, you've seen a lot of the TikToks. They're like, hey, how you doing? I have a boyfriend. Like, I didn't ask that. I was just so I think a lot of that happened back in the day. So now we're at a point where we're like, we don't
even talk to people.
Right. We don't engage. Now, I sometimes make a point of doing that, especially if you are part of the LGBTQ community and you are doing something that stands out. You've got your nails are bright red or something that I've noticed. I will say something because I think it's nice to be noticed, is what I will say.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, I'm the kind of guy that walks around with headphones on that aren't playing music because I don't want to be bothered. So I don't know how I feel about being approached.
You're like, not today. Don't compliment me today. I'm not interested.
Especially on airplanes, Ethan. I will sit there with my headphones. There's nothing playing.
Yeah.
It's like, please don't talk to me.
No one wants to be talked about on an airplane.
That's like you can't. Even if I know you,
like,
like, we're not talking. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah, I got plans for this plane ride. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
I've had plane rides where people are like, hey, so this is your first time where you're going. I'm like, hey, I have headphones on. Like, I can't hear you. And of course I can hear everything they're saying. And I'm like, huh? Oh yeah. Yeah. Like, anyway, I'm gonna leave that right there for
you gotta just like do the fake,
PSA.
like start to nod out.
Give compliments, leave some people alone. Yeah, pretend to fall asleep. There you go. That's a
no.
good
Well,
solution.
see, so that is something I will not. My personality will not allow for me to go that far. Like, I'm not gonna pretend to be asleep. I just don't talk to me. I'm going to let you know in a very nice way that I'm not looking to engage in conversation with you. Like, I'm staring out the window. I've got headphones on. I'm not looking at you. Like, get my whole body language. Like, get to I work on this for a reason, so that you can notice that I'm not paying attention to you. Well, yeah, there's no social awareness. I think people have lost that a little bit too.
Definitely.
People want to speak to you about things that they're not sure you're willing to engage on. Especially in politics, people will fight you tooth and nail. It's like, look, you have your fight over there. I'm not really interested in convincing you about anything.
Right.
If you want to talk, right? Especially in our community, if you want to talk because you want to learn, I'm not saying I'm here to teach you, but I want to learn from you as well. But if you're going to talk at me, then we've completely missed the point.
Yeah, talking to versus at. But I don't know. I thought it was like a cute little example of just like making human
No,
connection
I
and
think
teaching
she's
your
doing
daughter how to make human
amazing.
connections.
I think that's amazing. You teach your kids how to get out there and not be scared to engage with people in a very passive way. I'm not trying to spark a conversation with you. I just said, "Hey, nice shoes. See you later." Boom, gone.
Exactly.
I'm down for it.
And from a kid's perspective, it's not weird.
No.
Oh,
Like,
that's a
it's
good
still
point,
cute.
Ethan.
Yeah, it's still cute. Like,
Yeah.
it's not, creepy. Borderline.
It's very disarming.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
not creepy.
nice shoes, and then have her pull out a card and go vote for Donald Trump.
I'd be like, what did you just steal from me? Like, what? Like, I'd be like, what did this little kid just steal out of my pocket or something while they were distracting me?
So you like checking to make sure you still have your wallet.
Anyway, listen, we reached the end of our podcast. Ethan, first of all, thank you for spending some time with us and throwing out some, not necessarily some ways that everybody should be, but the opinions and thoughts of people that have the opportunity to provide different perspectives. I think that needs to be out there more. And
absolutely,
and from concept to execution, August's vision of this podcast is really about just really trying to suck all the bad energy out and repackaging it for good vibes. Good vibes.
Yeah, learn from those moments. Switch it out. Ethan, it was nice to meet you, man. Thanks for coming on.
And hey, next time come with some better Wi-Fi.
Hey, girl, my Wi-Fi is fine. No, it's probably
we both beg to differ on that one.
I know you guys are like talking perfectly fine, and I'm over here like, hello.